Hi there, Scott from Wessex Blades. Just packing up to the show today, but a friend here has offered me a little opportunity to show and tell and share. So I've been on YouTube for over a decade making knives in the back garden, and now I've ended up getting them laser cut and then heat treat. The treatments that I do are a little bit more involved. So I have a partial bainite on a lot of my carbon steels, which allows it to have 10% extra toughness with no loss of hardness from the original heat treat. So what I'm known for are galops, Leikus and crazy choppers. So if you check out Outdoor Basics, he has his own sort of British military Golok pattern size, but Scots version of it. So I use CS75, I get it heat treat and then a partial bainite to this very simple carbon steel, and it allows it to have flex. So it's a flexible steel. I then, with the Galoks, I put them in a bath of water. This is what this section here is used for, because the belly goes in the water and this goes in the water. So this is exposed to air. I then flame the back and impart the spring back into the CS steel. So from here to there, it has that flex. So on a large chopper, you don't get that nasty pallet wood hitting a rock sort of whacking your feel in your hands. I then allow this section here to be smoothed and rounded, so that if you work out the weight of it with the handle there, there's your balance point and there's your carving. So that's rounded, and you can do ridiculous chop in that area. I keep the same edge all the way along rather than trying to leave the customer with a difficult to retain edge profiles for them to stone or belt grinder. I keep the same angle so it's easy to find. The handles are skeletonized for weight, and all the woods that I use that require stabilization, I stabilize in home as well. But that's one of the blades I'm known for, is the big Galoks. And I also go a little overboard on tooling, and I pride myself in my leather work being an absolute labour of love. So these sheaths take days, bonded, fully lock stitched, apart from when I go all the way down, all the way up. When I'm pushing the stitching back through the stitching that's already there, then it's what they call saddle stitch, where I'm not actually looping it over for a knot. So totally and utterly over engineered. And I was advised by a saddler on the belt loops on the back never to stitch across because you weaken it. So all my recent stuff, recent being 7 years ago, I'll do U's or V's. I never stitch across. Anybody that stitches across there is just weakening the strap. So yeah, that's generally speaking my leather work in the last 7 years is that way. This one design I got the Viking Nordmander, and I can adapt it different sizes for the size of the sheaths. So if this is for a Nessmuck, I've now taken on most of the designs of Dorset Woodland Blades. This is one of his XL, XXL Westmuck Nessmucks. Very slim, very fast in hand, but his ergo on his handles is superb, because he'd always give that just that extra size handle, which allows you to hold it there or there. Again, once you're holding it here, your whittling control is nuts for a knife of this size. So I have these now in my range. A touch of green in the wood I thought, so I went with embellishing the sheath with a touch of green on the lizard, and then green stitching and a matched ferro rod. Again, over the top, spending far too long on them. This one is made for two reasons. One is in the new machete zombie knife consultation, I was trying to impose upon the parliamentary people in Hansford and all the discussions that what we're after is a respect for handmade, high value, top end work. So if we make it as a maker, it should be in a different class of blade than a really cheap 420 stainless load of rubbish with a paracord handle, because that would be a zombie knife. So I had to put the pressure on Mr. Rees-Mogg. We've gone through Chris Philp MP, and in the writings of the blurb is a respect for high end, not necessarily whether it has aggressive styling. So I've purposely made this to show what should be allowed. So this is an aggressively styled knife, but because it's handmade, high value, bespoke, custom, and all the other little high-end words that would, you know, give the idea that this is not mass-produced rubbish that's going to be bought by a street thug and chucked in the canal after an act of violence. This won't be used by people on the street. So we've managed to get that written in, and the other exercises I'm working on doing the apertures and all the rear covering leather work underneath for the aperture I've cut out. This one happens to have a fibre liner in there, so that's got a vulcanized industrial gasket on the back, so you can just about catch the red in there. So with the Burnham scales and double crusadas, this is a personal grooming tool for a guy in Somerset. So thanks to the friend there allowing me a bit of a show and tell. I am on Instagram and YouTube, Wessex Blades. Going to a few meets whenever I can make it, and just appreciate a bit of time to share my work on YouTube. Thank you.